Gentlemen, welcome to another great episode of the Five Star Revolution podcast with your host, CJ Price. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel right now and join us on Facebook, Five Star Revolution Podcast. Tonight, we have a very intriguing, scary guest. Kind of scared right now. His name is Jax N. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
Man, I gotta say that you look very scary right now.
It's natural.
Okay, if you call that natural, sure. So let's start from the beginning here. I'm not sure if you were a wrestling fan of wrestling growing up, but if so, who were some of your favorites when you were growing up as a fan?
My favorites growing up as a fan, and still some of my favorites today, would be Bray Wyatt was my first, followed by Kane and Raven.
Okay, so I can see why you like Bray Wyatt and Kane. You got some of that going on right now with your gimmick.
hmm
When did you start training with wrestling?
I started training back in 2018, early 2018, and I trained for a year straight, I believe, under Jamie Lee and Norton Lewis. And then I trained the following year by ECW original Chris Hamrick.
How did you find the wrestling school in your area?
I saw a flyer. That's pretty much all it was.
So you just decided to join?
Yeah, just wanted to do it.
So what was that moment in your head that you said, I want to become a pro wrestler?
The moment in my head when I decided to become a pro wrestler, I actually had never thought about it because I didn't really grow up with wrestling. I watched it when I was younger, but I never really was around it a whole lot. Um, and I went to a show and got to meet George South, who wrestles around here. And yeah, it kind of just stayed in the back of my mind. Just, oh, yeah, it's fun to think of the idea of doing it. And I got to thinking of what I wanted to do when I graduate high school. And I believe that God put it in my mind, hey, I want you to be a wrestler and I want you to be my wrestler. And I was like, okay, well, if you want me to do this, I need money for training because I have no money at all. Uh, I was cutting grass for $8 a yard, I think, with one of my friends, and I was making absolutely no money. But when I got home that evening, I got a phone call about being a farmhand, and that one farmhand job turned into 16 farmhand jobs. So it was, I believe that it was just God's hand putting me where He wanted me, and He's still doing that today.
So you're still learning, you're still sort of a rookie in the business and still paying your
Yeah.
dues.
Still paying, you always pay your dues. And whenever you stop paying your dues, you need to leave. That's it.
That's a good mindset right there. I really like that mentality, man.
Thank you.
So you met George South. For those people that don't know who George South is, he's a famous enhancement talent that came from NWA. Am I right?
Yes, he was Ric Flair's favorite opponent, actually.
Yes, I read that in his
Yeah.
book. Yes, yes.
And Charlotte
So,
Flair still says it today.
so how was it training with George South? How was that experience for you?
I think I only trained with George once, um, and it was good. I liked his training because he kind of mixes the old school psychology with the way that we do things today, which works. It works very well with me because I can't compete with all the flips and craziness that a lot of people do. I have to wrestle more of the old school way, just with newer stuff, if that makes sense.
So you're more of an old school type of brawler.
Yeah, I am solely based around gimmick and psychology. I tell everybody that. I can't wrestle worth a crap, but I can tell a story.
Hey man, some of the most famous wrestlers, for example, Nikita Koloff, I'm sure you know who he is. He came
Yeah.
on my show about 3 months ago. He wasn't that I don't wanna disrespect him, but he wasn't that 5 star wrestler like Mr. Perfect, for example.
No.
or AJ Styles,
Mm-mm.
and he's a legend now. So
Yeah.
sometimes it works for people like you that are not that diverse in the ring.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining that when you come out and your music hits, a lot of the little kids are scaring the crowd. How do you feel about that?
It's actually the complete opposite.
Really?
Yes. It's like they're scared to, they'll dare each other to come take pictures with me, especially when I have my mask on. Well, one of my masks on. But it is the complete opposite. I am a zombie macho man to these kids. It's weird. It is
So
so weird.
I honestly thought you were a heel.
Yeah, I look like it, and I act like it too. But people treat me as a baby. So
So what's going through your head? What's going through your mind before a match, before you step through that curtain?
before I walked through that curtain, for the past 5 years, I have always knelt and prayed before the curtain. And my second thought is, I need to do the best that I can because without the fans, I mean, everybody experienced that through COVID, but I was taught this also in training. Without the fans, we aren't anything. We're not performers. We can't be wrestlers or who we want to be without the fans. So you have to respect them most of all before you even walk through that curtain.
I absolutely agree, man. Without the fans, there wouldn't be no wrestling whatsoever.
No.
So, how do promoters feel about you when they first see you?
What? Most of the time when they first see me, they don't want to book me. They think I'm just some backyard guy, and if that's what they think, that's fine. I don't care. I've gotten to where I don't really care anymore. But when they see what I do as a character or as a gimmick, and how I present myself, and I stay in character the entire time. I never snap out of character. Even when I get hurt, I stay in character and keep the other guy safe, which is most important. Then they're usually like, okay, yeah, we might book him a little more, and then the fans start getting on my side, and they're like, oh, why can't you work heel? And I'm like, I don't know, it's weird.
So, speaking of characters, speaking of gimmicks and stuff, for those people that are listening right now, who is Jax N saying? What's he about?
Jax N, in 2 sentences or less, is a backwoods psychopath that is not evil, but he enjoys pain and loves to share pain with others.
Okay. So, are you ready for a little challenge, my friend?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you ever seen any of my episodes, but every single wrestler that comes on my show, I challenge them to do a promo in character for like 30 seconds if you dare to take the challenge. Do you think you can do it? Do you think you have the promo skills?
Let's see, I haven't really spoken like 2.5 years. Most of my promos are little cinematic things, so I might be able to.
On anything you want.
Anything that I want. I don't know if I can. It's weird because I haven't spoke for 2 years, like I said. Um,
I would love to hear a promo, in promo character, because I know you can do it. I can see the whole gimmick right now, so I'm imagining how you speak.
okay. Well, let's see. I'll cut a promo on my trainer. Okay. ADD, 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 ADD. Mr. ADD Jamie Lee. This Saturday in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Jax N will finally kill ADD. ADD. ADD.
That's awesome, man. for 2 years without doing a promo. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, what did you come up with the Jackson Saine character and the name itself?
The name was an accident. Because at the time I was just going by Jack, and I was doing more of a Joker type character. And I did something. I can't remember what I did. I think I hit a headbutt and spun with it. Um, and somebody from the crowd said, "Wow, Jax is insane." And I heard it and I said, "Jax insane? That sounds pretty cool." So I tried it and it stuck for 4 years.
Nice, nice. And have you evolved the character in those 4 years? Like, does it
Yes.
keep evolving?
Yes, it has continued to evolve. It hasn't stopped. It was like when I get to where I think I'm running out of ideas, oh, I get another one. Oh, why didn't I think of that? So, and every time I watch a horror movie, I come up with something different. It's
Man,
like,
you know
oh,
what?
do that.
When I first added you, I thought it was kind of like a Leatherface type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of everybody. I've gotten to the point where I'm taking a lot of Leatherface stuff, but for a while I was mixing the Joker, Scarecrow, and Chucky. I was mixing most of them. So now I think the way that I'm going to do it is more of a Leatherface, but my version.
Okay, all right. And what's your favorite accomplishment so far that you had in your career?
Can I give you my top three?
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
top three. So number one is I was the first heavyweight champion for three different companies that started. Um, Second would probably be that I have worked on Impact Wrestling twice and was security for Ring of Honor. And third would probably be that this character also got me movie roles. So I've also been in indie films as well.
That's pretty freaking cool, man. Do you mind talking a little bit about the movies you were in?
Yeah, we just finished one. It's out now if anybody wants to check it out. I encourage you to do so. You can go to the YouTube page, and we also have a Facebook page. It is called The Devil's Daughter, a Harley Quinn story. And it is the origin story of Harley Quinn. And I play as the Joker in the film. And I do my very best and try to do my own interpretation of the Joker. I stayed away from everybody else, tried to do mine. Maybe I did it, maybe I'm not, but I don't know.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out for sure.
Yeah. You'll have to have some time on your hands. It's about 3 hours long.
3 hours long.
3 hours long.
What is this? Avengers Endgame?
Hey, hey, it can be.
So, do you see your character and your gimmick going outside of wrestling now that you're getting movie roles and stuff?
I actually do. I think
Like,
that I can be in multiple different films. Maybe not as Jax N, but definitely as a psychotic character. I'm also interested in maybe doing a few haunted trails in the Spartanburg and Greenville area. If anybody over there wants to book me for that, or anywhere else, I'll travel. I don't care.
so you're from South Carolina?
Originally, yes. Now I live back over towards Asheville in North Carolina.
So how's the independent wrestling scene down there in that area?
The independent wrestling scene over here is actually, I can say, over full. There is a lot of wrestling. Every weekend, there is a show. If you are not booked every weekend in South Carolina, obviously there's something wrong with you because there literally is 2 to 3 shows every weekend in South Carolina alone.
Wow, so that's a lot of
It's a
promotions.
lot of wrestling down here. You stay busy.
Okay, that's good. That's really good actually for workers down there. Get
Yeah.
experience and wrestling different people.
Hmm.
So, what can we expect out of you in the next 3 years? What's in your future, my friend?
Next 3 years would probably be to I want to say master my character to where you believe it just from looking at me. But it's gonna take a lifetime to do that, and I don't have that. So probably the next 3 years is to wrestle in Virginia, which I'm wanting to do this year. I'm still working on getting my license for that. Um, Start a steady tag team if I can, and whatever I can do next. I'm open for anything.
I'm curious. Some of the wrestlers that I interviewed mentioned getting wrestling licenses. What goes into that? What do you have to do to get a wrestling license?
Uh, each each state that requires a license is different. South Carolina, you have to have your ID, uh, medical backgrounds, all of that jazz. Virginia, these are the only two that I know about. I haven't done any others. But Virginia, they require, I think, a few medical backgrounds and a license number. That's about it. And wrestling license in other states.
So they don't say, "Hey, what wrestling school you went to," or "How long you been wrestling," or nothing
No,
like that.
I think I had the application sitting in there. I think they do ask for how long you have been wrestling and who you were trained by
Okay, all
to
right.
see if you're legit or not.
And just curious, what is the fee for a wrestling license?
That also varies. South Carolina, I believe, is $50 for a wrestling license. And Virginia, there are two different kinds of license. You can get a 6 month temporary license, or you can get a 4 years license. The 6 month, I think, is $25, and the for full year is about 40, I believe.
So when you go to shows and do promoters like ask for that? Oh, do you have your wrestling license?
Yes, you have to present your license at every show because they have to register you before they even announce the show.
Oh, okay, very nice. See, I didn't know that. I thought I knew everything.
No, and it was actually cool this year because I sent my paperwork in the beginning of January, and for the South Carolina, and one of the agents called me and she said, "Hey, just wanted to let you know your paperwork was a little late because it got mixed in with the WWE talent. They just sent all of theirs in also." And I was like, "Hey, you can put mine with theirs. I don't care."
I was gonna say, man, maybe they'll give you a good word to WWE to get
Yeah.
signed.
Well, I know they're looking at me. That's what
Really?
I've heard anyway. Yeah, I know. I've heard that they are. Impact still communicates with me every once in a while.
So you only been in the business for 4 years. How does that feel to get noticed already by these companies?
Well, to me, the way that I was taught and my mindset in general, unless I have a contract, I haven't really accomplished anything. Getting noticed, yeah, that's cool. But unless I'm getting paid and I'm actually on the show, especially a televised show, the Impact ones were just on Impact Plus, which isn't live. It's on their streaming service, and you can go watch those. But unless I'm like on Raw, SmackDown, or Dynamite, to me, I haven't really done anything yet.
I still think that's cool though that you only been in the business for so little and you're already getting noticed by those companies. So that tells you they're doing something right.
I'm doing something right.
So, what is the next evolution of your character? What do you have in mind to change it up a little bit, if you don't mind me asking?
I can't say last time announced that on Facebook, Bray Wyatt took it.
Really?
Yep.
Do you mind sharing what he stole?
What he stole?
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole Fiend gimmick. At the time that I started doing that and was getting noticed, here he comes. And I was like, You sucker.
Well, he's gone now, so you might have a chance to bring it back.
He'll go back to WWE.
You think
He'll do
so?
it again. I think he will.
All right. So what about dream matches? I've noticed that there's other people out there, other wrestlers out there that kind of similar gimmick to you. Have you met any of those people? And do you want to get in the ring with any of those wrestlers?
I have, and I'll give you I'll give you an Undertaker response. Dream matches with characters similar with mine look great on paper, but that's how they need to stay. Unless it starts off as a match and turns into a tag team against two normal wrestlers, um, then it's not going to be that great.
So what about dream matches in general? Do you have any wrestlers in mind that you want to step in the ring with?
I've been wanting to work with one of my mentors, John Schuyler, for a while. Um, I would love to work with him some. And I would love to probably a more unrealistic booking would probably be me versus Raven. But he's retired, so that's not going to happen.
Man,
But I
that
can
would
think
still
about
be
it.
cool. Maybe he could be your manager or something. You never know.
Hey, something. At least watch me.
Yeah, yeah. He has a great wrestling mind for sure.
He does. He don't like to talk about it, but he does.
So, do you still go to the same wrestling school that you began with?
No, I'm actually training now under Bob Keller. I've been training under him for about a year now. And him being all the way in Columbia and me on the other side of Asheville, the only training that I really get to do with him is whenever he's running a show or if he's at a show that I'm at. But other than that, I've been going off and on to School of Morton as
Okay.
well in Tennessee and starting another school in March over in Rutherfordton.
Let me ask you about School of Morton. Does Ricky Morton actually step in the ring with you and train you and stuff?
Not really. Not really, but it's okay.
Who's the head trainer over there?
I can't remember his name. When I went there just a couple of times, but every time I went, it was just for a seminar, and it was for Luke Gallows, I believe. So he
Okay.
was the one that was training everybody at that time.
So I was gonna ask you about the backstage environment for Impact Wrestling when you did some work over there. How was it?
It was fine. It was just like any other show.
You didn't get starstruck or anything like that?
No, because I met the guys that were working there multiple times because they've worked at the smaller shows. Uh, like Crazy Steve, he's worked around Rutherfordton and Spartanburg multiple times. Eric Young, he's done the same. So it didn't really strike me as hard as probably who did I see that one time? I can't remember. It was somebody from WWE, but I was just like, oh yeah. But
So speaking about WWE and stuff, if you were in the middle of the ring right now with a live mic, what would you say?
I'd probably just start laughing, and I'm not very sure after that. It's hard to think about that because I can say whatever I want here, but if I was actually in that situation, I don't really know what I would do.
So what are you looking to get out of this wrestling business? What's your main goal?
I would love to be able to get a contract and actually wrestle for a living. Whether that will happen or not, I'm not sure. I'm going to work my butt off until I get it. But if it never happens, I'm not going to see myself as a failure because I accomplished what I set out to do, and that was to become a wrestler and entertain.
What if you signed to AEW, WWE, or any of those big companies and they said you gotta change your gimmick, man? What
I'm,
would you say?
I'll
What would
change it. That's okay.
I like your gimmick personally, man. That's why I contacted you to be on my show because I thought your look was freaking cool.
Well, thank you.
No
But yeah,
problem.
if they told me I needed to change it, then yeah, whatever you want me to do.
So how long does it take to put on all that stuff on and make yourself look scary and shit?
Literally 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
When I tell you it's natural, it's natural. I'm just naturally ugly.
That's funny, my friend. That is funny.
I've
So do you
I've been
have
told that I look better with the makeup than without it.
so do you have any wife, kids, and if you do, how do you balance life with wrestling?
Yes, I am married. We actually celebrated our anniversary Monday. We've been married a year, and I have one son. He's 6 months old, and it literally has taken me an entire year to figure out how to balance it. But there is a way. You just don't sleep.
So you get no sleep,
Yeah,
you
no
wrestle,
sleep.
you take care of your kid, you take care of your wife. I'm assuming you have a shoot job.
Yes,
And what is that job, if you don't mind me asking?
I am a truck loader for Dave Steel Company.
Okay, all right. Sounds like a physical demanding job.
Very physically demanding job. I don't really go to the gym because I'm wore out by the time I get home. I'm throwing steel and 120-pound 6x6 timbers all day long.
That's your workout right there, man.
And yeah, that's all I need. I've got the farm boy build. So
So, sort
that's
of
all.
like Brock Lesnar.
No, not Brock Lesnar. No, I've got more of the traditional horror movie psycho look.
Okay, all right. So is that where you got your inspiration with the gimmick? Is from horror movies, correct?
Yes. And actually, when I came up with the character, I have never seen a horror movie until about 2 years into the Jax N character.
Okay, very cool. I would recommend for you to watch Jeepers Creepers, the new version.
Okay.
I think you will get some good ideas from that.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
For sure, for sure. So last question, Mr. Insane. For your fans that are listening to you right now, one thing they don't know about you that you want them to know, what would that be?
One thing that I would want the fans to know about me, I don't really know because I'm always a very private person and I don't really talk a lot about myself. Uh, Never been asked this question actually.
Want me to
But
ask you a different question?
yeah, you can.
All right. Um, when it's all said and done, when you're finished with the in ring action, do you want to stay in the business somehow? And if so, what would you like to do?
I will probably end up managing my son because already at 6 months, he loves to sit there and watch wrestling. He don't like to watch anything else on TV, but he'll sit there and watch wrestling. And he loves to play with me. I've actually work punched him a couple times and he starts laughing. So I can tell you already he's going to do it. As much as I don't want him to, he's going to do it. So I'll probably just end up managing him.
So you're gonna have a little Jackson Saine Jr. running around soon.
Yep.
And why is it that you don't want him to do it? Why is it that you don't want him to wrestle?
Just because of some of the situations that you're put in as a wrestler, um, especially being a Christian in the business, it does get very dark at times. And and here's something that fans can know about me. Um, I struggle with depression and anxiety a lot, and I like to be the center of attention when it comes to wrestling, and that will corrupt you. I've gotten to some points where everybody's talking about somebody else that hasn't been in the business as long as I have, and jealousy takes over, and then the depression starts with, well, I must not be doing something right with my character, or I'm not doing enough. So I'll push myself even harder, and it'll mess everything else up within the balance of life.
I totally agree with you what you just said, man. There's a lot of BS and politics backstage that shouldn't take place. But unfortunately, with the wrestling business, it comes with the territory. So
Yeah.
you just gotta bite the bullet and do your best, my friend.
Yeah, just look out for yourself because no one else is.
So where can our listeners, where can our followers follow you on social media?
At the moment, I just have a Facebook. I am working on getting others, such as Instagram, Twitter. I do have a YouTube account and a TikTok account, so they can follow that as well. Just look up Jax N or Sanity Entertainment. It'll pop up.
Well, there you go, my friends. Go follow my friend Jax Insane or Jackson Entertainment. He's a great wrestler, upcoming guy. We're gonna see him on TV soon. I can feel it. And Mr. Jackson Sane, thank you so much for coming on the Five Star Revolution podcast. It was a true pleasure, my friend.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
And for you listeners, don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Five Star Revolution Podcast. Mr. Jackson Sane, have a great night and good luck with your career.
Thank you.